This Pitch Breakfast video is brought to you by Spangler and Agins.
Good morning, my name is Jane McKeek and this is my husband Gokhan McKeek, and we founded Everblue Aviation Services. It is an airline service company that addresses some of the critical issues that we found existing already in the service industry. So my husband has about 10 years of experience in airline servicing, specifically the catering side, specifically in regional jets. So if you've been from here to Raleigh, for example, that's what we would consider a regional jet. As is, regional jets are catered in a very antiquated way with what you would probably think of as a modified golf cart, driving up to the airline and the catering agents literally handing soda and water and ice and whatnot to the stewardesses to cater the aircraft. This process takes an average of 17 minutes right now, and the typical turnaround time for a regional jet is 25 minutes. So there are at least 2 to 3 catering delays daily just based on catering delays. So another issue that we found is that most catering vehicles require 2 agents because 1 agent is needed simply to guide the vehicle in backing up. We have designed a vehicle that addresses these issues. Our Sky Server features a full cart swap system, meaning we just roll a cart onto an airline, fully stocked, and take away the used cart. This reduces all catering delays. The second feature of our device is a dual cockpit, meaning there's a driving console at the front of the vehicle and at the rear. It never backs up, so you only need 1 employee to efficiently cater an aircraft. And the cost savings here with both of these full cart swap systems and the dual cockpit is huge. We're looking for $200,000 to build 3 more devices, adding our fleet up to 4. We already have a prototype that is working. And with these 3 or 4 vehicles, we are going to submit a pitch to American Airlines to cater their Charlotte operation. So, thank you.
All right, Pamela, what do you got to say?
Good job. You covered a lot of good ground in 2 minutes. Definitely got an understanding for the business the area you're targeting, what you're building, and why you're a relevant team. A couple questions that even in a 2-minute pitch would have been, I think, good to try and incorporate one way or another is, so, you know, I clearly came away with you're targeting regional jets. As an investor, one of our questions is always, how big is the opportunity you're pursuing? So not being, you know, we're mostly technology investors, so right. I know I fly on planes and the airline industry is huge. But if you can size what you think the opportunity is for a catering vehicle that's specific to the regional jet market, and you don't need to go into great detail, right. But you need to give us some idea, because the question is always, if we invest $200,000, what might that grow into? The other thing that would be helpful, I think, and one of the things that's always important to us that we look for is some sense of momentum or traction. And obviously, the earlier the company, the harder that can be to say, you know, well, we don't necessarily have revenues yet, and so how do we convey that? And I think one of the things that would have been great to hear, and I don't know to what degree you've done it, is, so that one of the questions is, what's the basis for your understanding of this problem? Is it purely the fact that you've worked in the industry and seen it firsthand, and so you've seen this problem? And we see that a lot with entrepreneurs, you know, that a company is born out of a specific experience they have. Sometimes that translates better than others.
Right.
So one of the things that we look for and like to hear, especially nowadays, is what is the customer discovery process you have done already, right? So you're asking for money to build 3 more prototypes to then go pitch American Airlines, is that right? Well, what would be great, and I don't know if it's happened or not, and I'll shut up in a minute and let you answer, is, you know, we've already talked with 32 regional airlines and confirmed that, you know, X, Y, and Z is a problem, or, you know, they spend this much on these things. So just that customer discovery process can go a long way, and I know it's tough in 2 minutes to kind of validating that you weren't just thinking this up in the back room of your house,
Right.
that you've actually gone out there and already gotten feedback.
Yes. Do you want to answer that?
Okay, I'm pretty bad on the microphone, but I'll try to answer my best. I discovered this problem a long time ago, and it takes a very long time to build up the prototype. And it wasn't just my idea. Actually, airline was going that direction. So far, airlines always losing money, but now they start making money. They are still using the 1980s technology, and they want to change because I'm on the management team, and they were always talking about the change in the system. So 2017, until 2017, they have to. There's a rule right now out there. They say all the regionals, all the aircrafts will be roll on, roll off catering system.
The full cart swap.
Full cart swap. They are given 2 years to prepare for the companies for that system.
That would be important to incorporate into the package.
Okay.
That's a pretty important piece of information for what you're doing.
That's the rule right now. Is already it went out. So all the LSG, SkyShell, Gate Government, they have to prepare for this system. So we are 2 years ahead of time actually right now because we have a prototype. And the other thing is the market, the size of the market is. The regional jets market is small, like 4 times smaller than the mainline market. But the thing is the best way to enter it because there's big room to enter that the regional jets because of this rule changes. And then by the 2020s, airline travelers amount will be doubled from 2014. There's a study on that shows that people will fly twice more in 2020. So airlines actually will make much more money, and they are like booming time this time. The perfect time for entering the airline businesses, like servicing or something. But the best area to enter the regional jets because it's left out alone. You know what I mean? They didn't care about the regional jets much. That's why there's a lot of room for improvement.
So 2 more questions,
yes.
then I'll let Dan. So am I hearing that you view the regional jet market as just your entry point, your
yes.
beachhead market, and this would expand to
yes.
to passenger jets generally?
Exactly.
Okay, so that's good. You ought to state that.
Okay.
That won't take much time.
Okay.
And I would be wary of sizing your market based on air travel's really big and it's going to be even bigger in 2020. You aren't selling jets. You aren't selling tickets.
Okay.
You're selling carts to cater to regional jets. So you should, if you're going into a 2-minute pitch, you should have those numbers down cold. There are, 3,200 regional jets in America that are today serviced by, 18,000, whatever it is.
Okay.
To tell me, I know the business from the bottoms up. I'm not just projecting based on, we know the airline business is big and getting bigger. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
So a couple things that I want to point out and agree with John on. I think the personal story is really interesting, so I think you can weave that in upfront and faster of, I'm a subject matter expert, I saw this problem, I created the solution. I think that always works really well. I think sizing the market's important. If you say these equipment vehicles in the airline industry is a $100 million industry, takes you 2 seconds to say even in a 2-minute pitch.
Right.
So I get the sense just hearing you talk about it more, airline's big, getting bigger, but I'm still left with the impression that you don't know the size of the market.
Okay.
So I think that needs to get solved.
Okay.
I was going to ask questions about sales process. How hard is this to sell in? Lead time of selling in, so that variable of the regulatory change is really critically important. Interestingly, you say you're 2 years ahead, but if they have to be implemented, is what I heard you say, by 2017, as a potential investor, I look at that and go, well, wait a minute, you're late because they're making decisions now and you're still at the prototype stage and you couldn't scale up to provide 2,000 vehicles if you had to. So interestingly, I took a different perspective of that. I took a perspective of you are late, not you're early. The prototype was interesting because you, the first time you mentioned the prototype, you said 3 more. I heard the word more, and I'm like, wait a minute, they got one? And so I think that would be good up front. Obviously, there's no slides here.
Right.
I think a photo of it would be great if you were allowed to do slides, right? I'd love to hear how the prototype worked. Did you have it in markets? Were people using it? How effective was it? Do you have comments from clients about this? So clearly it's been out there doing something. I would have loved to have heard about that.
Okay.
IP, is there any intellectual property around this invention? Because that's going to be important.
patent?
Yes. It's a patent pending right now. I mean, we just applied for the patent. It takes a couple of years. Patent pending, but you know, patent doesn't make actually big protection because you have to follow that. For protection of the vehicle, actually, that's why we want to produce 3 more. That's to get the contract. But also, as soon as they order or something, we already have it, so we can provide it. And also the cost, they will not be able to produce it cheaper than us. That's our actual protection of the vehicle, but we already patented it. I mean, we applied for the patent.
What's the magic about 3 more? Is some client ready to give you a contract if you had 4 operational?
Yeah, September, mid-September, American Airlines will open a catering bid. It's going to be the first time in their history. Before they were just giving away, you know, whatever they like the company, but now they are opening a bid. Whoever provides the best service with the best price, we are entering that bid. Basically, we will enter the bid with 4 vehicles, which means that enough to operate Miami or Phoenix kind of small size of stations, but also enough to start in Charlotte. We will focus on Charlotte because there's over 400 flights daily in Charlotte. So it will be enough for us to start in Charlotte, and that's why we can keep building it 6 more. But it will be very hard to enter the bid with 1 prototype. If we have like 4 vehicles, we are ready to start tomorrow. Right? You know what I mean? That's our idea right now as a phase 1 in this business. And then later we will have another pitch for the servicing, like working capital investment. But right now the best, first step would be like producing enough vehicles to start up.
Yeah, so two other connection points and thoughts for you. The city of Charlotte owns Charlotte Douglas Airport. They don't own American Airlines, but there's a lot of good relationships there, and the city's particularly interested in helping entrepreneurs. So there might be some leverage points there in terms of relationships and connections to American Airlines. Secondarily, American Airlines itself is one of the more progressive corporations in America regarding supporting entrepreneurs. They have this massive entrepreneurship support program for free miles and other things, and there's some interesting connections we can make there. I'd be surprised if they wouldn't try and help an entrepreneurial startup take a shot at a pitch like this, given their corporate culture and how strongly they feel about entrepreneurship. So we can follow up with that after.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Thank you.
And we'll go to the audience. We got
Anything from the audience?
anything for the audience? Yes.
What's the revenue model? Are you selling the parts or a service contract supporting the parts?
Perfect question. We will keep the vehicle until we get the service contract first. But we will have 2 different operations. One will be the service operation, one will be the production operation. There will be 2 different companies eventually, but right now we keep it the same to be able to be stronger in the bid. And when we get the contract, and we will release the vehicles to sell it also. But to be able to get the contract, we will not sell it first because we are giving away from our stronger power to another companies. So we will try to secure at least 1 station as a contract so we can test our vehicle and then produce our vehicle better. And then we will start selling in entire world basically because there's only 1 type of vehicle right now. It's built exactly for aircraft service.
I just want to add, I work with these guys. So this doesn't really do it justice. There's other technology in addition to what this thing does. And people have expressed interest in understanding some of the safety technology that they have. So in addition to the vehicles, there's a possibility of hiring them to effectively retrofit some other stuff with some of their technology. This thing not only never backs up like scissor lifts, makes a direct connection to the airplane so that they can have a whole cart swap. Simple stuff, nobody in the industry building. So there's a revenue channel to what companies are looking at, seeing what part of technology they can license, not
Yes, we definitely use we definitely use very high-tech equipment in the sensors, very sophisticated sensors. So it doesn't. It's computer control vehicle basically. It measures the distance of the aircraft. It's the safest vehicle in the world basically. And now airlines see that the airline managers, they want us to use that safety system in their vehicle. we are about to get an order from the US Airways and American Airlines right now. And that will be another thing. So we will brand it our safety system like EverSafe, trademark it, and then sell it to their equipment. That could start earlier, but we will not sell the catering vehicle ahead of time before we get the contract.
Thank you very much. Everblue Aviation Services.
Thank you.